Hi everyone, Jaki Sabourin here, your love coach, and this is your Engaged at Any Age live coaching call. I'm so excited to show up for you today because this topic is really hot. How to get your needs met without being controlling. That's a big one, especially for all the alpha females out there, right? Or women who can't seem to get a man to do what he wants for you. So I thought I would talk about this. And I received a lot of emails today when I sent out the notice that I was going to go live. And so I have several questions that I'm also going to answer. So if you're on this live call with me and you have a question, please post it here in the comment box so that I can answer it while we're on this live call. And so let me just say hello to a few of the ladies. Hi, Joanne. Nice to see you here. Yay. I'm so excited. Okay, so let me just jump into our topic because it's a hot one. All right, so do you struggle when you're dating and you want to maybe go to a certain restaurant, or you like a certain food, or you don't want to do things, and he's not really picking up the hint until you tend to take over, and you find yourself maybe barking at him. Maybe you find yourself being too blunt or direct, and the man shuts down and backs up. And so here's a couple tips for you to help you to stop doing that and get what you want, because that's men really are wired to please women. They want to take care of us. They want to do things for us. But often what happens is fear gets in the way. So let's look at what controlling is. What is control? And so it's basically a method, right, of coping with anxiety or fear. What happens is, and I call it control to feel safe. So what happens, it starts from really young. Maybe the environment, your parents were absent, or they were emotionally unavailable, or your parents worked all the time. So it's not making parents wrong or good or bad or anything like that. It's just about what happens to children. We might assume or take the role of a parent because maybe we have a lot of brothers or sisters, or we're the oldest. And so we start to feel like we need to control our environment because we're scared, or we have a lot of anxiety about what's happening at home. And so it'd be very normal for you to want to try to control your surroundings. And so you might become very demanding, because that way you at least can predict what's going to happen. That would make you feel very safe. But it's usually fear-based. So it's fear-based. That's what controlling is. So if you think of opposite of controlling, if letting go of control and just going with the flow, that's very hard to do if you've had a lot of fear or anxiety around your environment or anything like that from your history. So that's really where it comes from. And then, just maybe years of working an incredible corporate job. You're just used to making decisions and leading and taking control. And so it's hard for you to relax and allow the man to do for you, because maybe it takes him longer to figure things out and you get impatient. It's just like, I could get this done so much faster, right? But in that process of getting it done faster, and you probably could, you end up alienating the man that you want to be with. And it especially happens on first, second, and third dates. That's when we tend to, first we're on our best behavior, but then the guy's not really making the decisions. And so you start to become, control the date because you want it to go well. You mean well, you want things to go well so that you can see him again, so you get asked out again, but you'll come across as being in your masculine energy or too controlling, which is what you don't want to do. And so I love to just lean back and let Michael handle everything. And so you have to set it up in the beginning when you first start dating the man to let him step into that. And if you're already seeing someone, this still works. But so the first thing is it's what you say. If not what you say, it's how you say it. Let me take a little sip of water. I'm in a really dry climate right now. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And you have to use a smile. Have you ever been on the phone, and you've probably heard in sales, if you're smiling when you're on the phone, people can tell. So right now I'm talking while I'm smiling, and so my face is a little more animated, and you can kind of hear the pitch of my voice is a little more, it's just more friendly. And so it's how you say things, not necessarily what you're saying, it's how you're saying them. And so smiling when you're asking for something. And so, for example, if we're headed out and maybe we're going to a restaurant and all of a sudden I'm having a craving for something different. And so I can go ahead and say, you know, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. You're gonna kill me. But all of a sudden, all I want is a cheeseburger. I don't want to go to this fancy restaurant. You know, how do you feel about just going and getting a burger instead of going to this fancy restaurant? Smiling, cocking my head, you know, and you're kind of like, oh, what do you think? What do you think? So you're presenting it as kind of like a suggestion and allowing him to weigh in on it instead of like, you know what, I don't feel like going out tonight to that restaurant. Let's just get a cheeseburger. It just sounds so much more harsh and it doesn't sound fun at all, you know? And so if you want someone to bend around to your point of view, you need to have a certain amount of, you need to give them the opportunity to give them a few moments to make that mental adjustment so they can get on the same page as you can. So a lot of times what happens is you ask a man something, but you won't wait for him to respond. So a lot of men, especially powerful men, alpha males, they want to think things through. And so they want to think their response through very carefully before they answer you because they don't want to disappoint you. So you really have to lean back and allow them the opportunity to respond to you. And so when you're going on dates, you can, starting with getting into the car. When you get into the car, you can stay seated when you pull up to a nice restaurant. So that he can come around and open your door. Never lean over and open his door for him, thinking you're doing him a favor and being helpful, because that's just like, a man does not need help. And that actually will offend him. So what I would do, if you want a man to open your car door, instead of asking him if he would do it, you can just sit in the car and stay there, no matter how long it takes for him to pick up that concept that you're waiting for him to open your door, especially if you're, when you first start dating. And soon enough, he'll notice you're still in the car and he'll come over or run over and open your door. And then you say, thank you so much. Thank you. And you're smiling. And then now he's got it. You just gave him this reward. And then you can even add in, I so appreciate that. It makes me feel like a lady. Thank you. Smile. Okay. We forget to smile, right? Smiling so much. Men look at your smile as a reward, like, okay, she's smiling. That means she's happy. And so I'm winning. All I want to do is make her happy. And so going into the restaurant, controlling would be going right up to the hostess desk, right? And saying, we're here, and the woman talking, and I see this all the time, you won't believe it, but you'll walk into the restaurant and I'll see a woman go up to the desk, you're standing there with your date, and you or she, the woman will tell the hostess that you're here for your dinner reservation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're killing me. Don't ever do that. Stand there and wait till he goes up. I mean, if it takes him 3 or 4 minutes to figure out that you're not going to go up to the hostess desk here and say anything, or don't open your mouth, put duct tape over it, like Allison Armstrong says. I love that. Put duct tape over your mouth. Let him take the lead and just sit back, because eventually he'll pick it up, even if he's an introvert or he's shy. Really, if you give a man the opportunity that is maybe introverted or shy, he will step in and lead. So make sure that you do that. And then let's just walk through this. You're going over to the table, and you can stand by your chair. That might be going a little too far on a first date, but if you are walking in together, you can act like you need help. Men want to help women, okay? So if you don't want to control everything and you want him to be a gentleman, what you can do is, act like you're having a hard time getting your chair out. And so, yes, is it an act? Yes, a little bit. And I'm not encouraging you to play damsel in distress, but hey, you want to know how to get a man to do something for you. You won't believe how this works. It works like a charm, because then they get to win again. So it's a win-win for both of you. So you can act like you're having a hard time pulling out the chair, then he'll get up, he'll come around, and he'll pull that chair out for you. And then you sit down and you say, thank you. Thank you so much. Again, smiling at him, giving him that twinkle, that sparkly smile, because inside you're just like going, yeah, I just won all these little victories. And so another way to get a man to do what you want is to use the phrase, oh, you know what would make me so happy? And he's like, he's all ears, believe me, because he wants to make you happy. He does not want to see you unhappy. And, oh, if I could get, and then you then you say what you could get. I mean, what you want him to get for you. So that's it. You know what would make me really happy right now is if I had some popcorn. I remember saying that to Michael. It was 9 o'clock at night, and I was being a little mischievous because I had a friend over and she was watching a movie, and the three of us were watching this fun movie. It was Friday night, and so I was like, you know what would make me really happy right now is I have a hankering for popcorn. And I smiled at Michael, and he looked at me, and he's like, so we live right in town, and there's a little store right by our condo, so it was easy for him to do that. We didn't have any, and so he goes, do you want me to go use some popcorn? And I'm like, you would do that? So I was so excited, so happy, and I'm like, I would love that, honey, thank you so much. And he jumped up, and literally he was gone for like 6 minutes, and he came back, brought us the popcorn. We had the popcorn with the movie. It's just how I presented it and how happy I was when he came back. So a reward for that, I give him a big kiss. Okay, that was the reward and appreciation. Men just want to feel appreciated. They don't expect you to pay for dinner, but they certainly want to feel appreciated when they do. So make a big deal out of things that they do right, and don't say anything about things they do wrong. That's another duct tape moment, right? When a man does something wrong, just like note it, but just don't highlight it. Only reward the good behavior, right? Don't reward the bad behavior. When you're driving with a man and you know he's looking around and he doesn't know where he's going, do not give a man directions. You can ask him if you want him to open Google Maps. And if he says, no, I got it, say, okay, and literally busy yourself looking at your phone or look out the window. Do not give a man directions. My husband hates that. And I know men hate it. And don't you hate it when you're driving and somebody tries to tell you, unless you ask, where to go? It's so frustrating because you're trying to think where to go, and then the other person's talking in your ear, and it just sounds like a chihuahua that's barking. So that's another don't do. Another thing to do if you want a man to do something for you and you want to have a talk with him or something, and you don't want to control it, you can invite him over and cook him a meal. And this is after maybe he's taken you out on 3 dates, 4 dates, and you're liking him. Then you invite him over to your home and cook him a homemade meal. And then, after that meal, you can say, you know what would be really fun for me or what would make me happy? I saw this commercial about the lake and whatever. You can drop in, what you want, the hint about going to this lake or going on this, to Napa, or if you want to, whatever it is that you're wanting, just say, oh, wow, that would be so fun. I would be so happy. I would love to do that. Smile. And then see if he takes the lead from there. Or you could even say, would you ever like to do that? And then he might say, yeah, that sounds fun. So maybe we could do that together. And then, you let him know what would make you happy. I wouldn't say those things more than like 3 times, and I'm not in the same evening. So I'm not saying to repeat it 3 times. I'm just saying, ask that, that you want to do something specific. If he doesn't respond to it, there's usually a reason why he's not responding. And number one might mean that maybe it's not in his budget. And so definitely want to ask for things that you feel based on the lifestyle he's living and the things you're doing are within the realm of the lifestyle. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for a disappointment. So if you're dating a guy that's happy and satisfied in his career, but he doesn't make a ton of money, I wouldn't ask to go to Paris, right? But you could ask to go away to a B&B, and you could say, oh, it would be really fun to go to this Airbnb, and they had this special fair that's happening. I've always wanted to go there. I would love to do that sometime. Smile. So it's very simple, actually. It's just about how you say things and not saying things before you give the man an opportunity to respond to what it is that you want. And, just showing up with a lot of appreciation. Men need to feel, the biggest reason why men don't want to do things for you is because they don't feel appreciated. And then when we start getting bossy, men start thinking of us as their mother, right? Our moms are bossy, right? They have to tell us what to do. So if we take that bossy energy to a relationship, a man will shut down so fast. And so the reason why a man doesn't do things for you is that he's not feeling inspired. He doesn't feel appreciated. and you're not communicating what you need in a way that he can hear you. So those three things: he's not feeling appreciated, he's not feeling inspired, and so you're not getting excited enough. You're not going, wow, on the things that he does right, and maybe you're pointing out the things he does wrong. Like if you are driving down the freeway and he misses the exit, you have to let that stuff go. It's like, oh, well, I'm sure we can catch the next one and circle back. Just be easy about everything. Be easy about everything. So the control comes from needing to control to feel safe. So you need to look at why you feel the need to control everything on dates, because it's a fear-based need, because there was a time in your life that you really did need the environment controlled so that you felt safe. And then, of course, that spills over into our job, our careers, and being a mother, being a parent. And so it's really learning to switch into that feminine energy of going with the flow, like water. It's flowing downstream. Anytime you feel this resistance, that tells you something. So how you can tell if you're feeling that, if you're being controlling, is when you feel this resistance in your body. It might be tense in your shoulders, tightness in your tummy. You have all this resistance because you're thinking that it should be a certain way. But rigid thinking lacks flexibility. It shouldn't be anyway. You don't even know how it's going to be. So for you to think it should be a certain way tells me that you're being too rigid. And dating requires you to be really relaxed about everything, in terms of, how it unfolds. I mean, yes, you don't want to be relaxed about any kind of abuse or anything, but you have to relax about, maybe there's a longer wait than you anticipated, and you're stuck in the lobby of the restaurant for an hour. So maybe you say, oh, what would make me happy is maybe we can get a couple glasses of wine while we're sitting out here waiting. Smile. And he'll be like, sure, I'll go get them. And then he comes back, you're like, thank you so much. Then sitting in the lobby for an hour is fun. I mean, you have to communicate. You're not communicating in a way that he's receptive. And so leading with, what would make me really happy, and smile. And you can even be a little mischievous about that, a little flirty, a little sassy, a little fun, but always coming from a place of love, not fear. And so another thing is that you can make something a man's idea. You can say, weren't you the one that had that great idea about going to that, retreat up in the country? Weren't you the one that mentioned that? I thought that was a fantastic idea. And he might be like, no, but it is a fantastic idea. And you're like, no, I think it was you. Boy, that sounds great. Are we going to do that? So you kind of dropped it in his lap and then see if he runs with it. If it's in his budget and he's inspired by you, he's definitely going to want to take you there. So let's see who has a question. Hi, ladies. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Susie. Hi, Frankie. And hi, Ron. Thanks. Okay, so let's see. What are the questions? So we had to get what we both want, not through to me. So Susie's saying this is really how to get what we both want, not for me to get him to do what I want. To your point, yes, we both win. It's not a manipulation at all. Nothing I do is manipulative. I'm not a manipulator. I used to be. I'll admit it. I used to get my needs met by manipulating because I didn't know any other way. And I learned that as a child. I needed to manipulate the situation. So I made sure that I could control it. So I felt safe. So I admit that, guilty. But I realized that there was resentment that was on the other end of it. And that's why I was really wanting to change my behavior so that I had on the other end of that, they wanted to do something for me instead of resenting it or feeling like I'm a gold digger or I'm entitled, right? That's why we want to change our behavior. It's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's just that you want a different result. You don't want to feel like you're pulling teeth to get what you want. And so I'm telling you, this whole shift in your perception, just taking ownership for the fact that it really it's fear-based, the need to control, and come from love. When you come from love, it's just, of course, it's going to be so much juicier, so much nicer, and so much more well-received, and men do want to make you happy. So great advice. What if he won't take the hints? What next? Okay. What next is you need to be more direct. Still, again, it's the tone, and communicate. So you're not communicating. So you can say, gosh, I would really love to take a weekend trip with you. We've been seeing each other for a couple of months, and that would really make me happy. How do you feel about that? Smiling, being direct. How do you feel about that? And I know men really don't like to feel. They're more like, how do you think? What do you think about that? So you could use the phrase, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? Anything you want. If he's not taking the hint, say, well, I was really hoping we could go to this place. What do you think about that? And just shut up. Don't talk. Let him answer. And he'll tell you what he thinks. He will tell you what he thinks. You just ask him a direct question. And if he says, I don't think that's a good idea, and you need to keep going, you say, oh, okay, because you really genuinely need to be curious. Why do you think it isn't a good idea? And be really interested, not like, oh, great, just because maybe he knows something you don't know. Maybe he knows that there's an accident on the freeway. Maybe he knows his friends went there and the food's horrible. Maybe he had a bad experience there himself. You don't make any assumptions, but give him the benefit of the doubt. But you have to ask clear, direct questions. Again, it's just using the tone and a smile, and you'll get a clear, direct answer. And if he doesn't answer you, you can say the worst case scenario is to say, gosh, I'm a little confused right now. I'm open to hearing what you have to say about going on that weekend trip, but you haven't answered my question, and so I'm a little confused. Normally you're very forthright, and so I really would like you to be forthright with me now and go ahead and tell me whatever you say I'm going to be okay with. I just need to hear from you. Smiling. So in other words, sometimes your response is so critical or judgmental that a man doesn't feel like it's safe for him to respond. So he clamps down. So you've got to monitor your own reactions. You want to get into responding instead of reacting. And so you're just like, so keep going, keep pushing. This is like intimacy, right? You have to learn to be vulnerable. So in that moment when he says he doesn't think it's a good idea, your heart could sink and you could be like, okay, and that's it. And then you call your friend up and you're like, he said it wasn't a good idea. And then she's going to say, did you ask him why? And you're going to say, no, I got too afraid. And so you lacked intimacy in that moment and you weren't emotionally available. That's what emotional unavailability. Wow, that was hard to say. That's what emotional unavailability is. It's your lack of willingness to put yourself even further out there. You really want to seek the truth. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the truth, but you're also creating a safe space for him to be honest with you. So you have to start first. You need to be honest with him by saying, and then he tells you, well, the truth is that I went there with my ex-wife and I don't want to ever go there again. And then you say, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I could see why. Well, how do you feel about going on a trip at all? Oh, great. That sounds great. Okay. Well, do you want to look into, where we could go? Or do you want me to come up with some ideas? And then he'll be like, why don't we both come up with ideas? So find out why he doesn't want to go there. I mean, mine have nothing to do with you. Okay. So I love the reminder to shut up. I'm practicing that. Yeah, men, we want to talk less and listen more on dates because remember, we're vetting them in this first month and we're listening to what they're saying. So we need to be listening more. And we love to talk. Most women, once we get going, we're going to start talking more, but we want to monitor that because he's going to, if you allow him to talk and him maybe even to do most of the talking, you're going to learn so much about him, and from that place you'll be able to make a good choice for yourself if you should go out with him again. What if a man wants to take me someplace and I prefer going somewhere else? Well, I'm going to say you need to really look at what it is you want in life, because that's another thing about being rigid in our thinking. Unless it's some awful place, I would be like, I'd love to. I can't wait to go with you. I'd go anywhere with you. As long as we're together, I'm going to be happy. So you have to come from that mentality, because guess what? You want to be in a relationship. You want to get engaged at any age. You want to be married. So go along with some things that he wants to do. Have a great time. And then the next time you can, ask for what you want. But if it's someplace terrible that you really don't want to go to, you can say, I actually, have a bad memory from there, or I've heard some things that my friends date, or I don't know. You just have to talk to him about it. But I would go with the man, because I would want to honor the fact that he's making these suggestions, and then take it from there, and then make my own suggestions after that, because you want a man to lead, and so he's trying to lead. Does that help you, Laura? Yeah. And so if you have, if your values are similar, you'll probably want to do similar things. And so look at exactly what your values are. If he has the same value system, it's more likely that you're going to want to go to the same type of places. Like, I love the beach, I love the mountains, I love to ski, I like to hike, and I really do those things. So any place that we go to do those things, I'm going to be good with, I don't like to ride motorcycles. So if a man asked me, I'll use this as an example. Hey, I have a Harley and I want to, take you for a ride. And you say, oh, thank you so much for thinking of me. But guess what? I am terrified of motorcycles, and I don't see myself ever getting on one, but I'm really glad that you asked me, and I'll be here when you get back from your ride. Maybe we can ride beach cruiser bicycles. I'm much better at that. So you didn't shut him down completely. Always start with gratitude. Thank you so much for thinking of me. That's super sweet, but I don't think I could ever get on one. I'm terrified. So it's turning it all around and always coming from gratitude. Thank you. So Laura, you could use this. You can say, oh, that sounds really, that's so sweet of you to think of taking me there. And I'm so grateful. And how do you feel, or what do you think about going here? I mean, I've heard really great things about this place, and I've always wanted to go there. So you could try that angle. You're welcome, Laura. So anybody else have, what is a good way to be strong and loving? What's a good way to be strong and loving? Well, I don't know what you're actually asking, but what comes to mind for me is boundaries. That's strength, is boundaries. Knowing and having healthy boundaries. That's strength, because it takes a lot of courage and strength to have and hold boundaries, but it's in a loving way. And so say, for example, I'm just making this stuff up because it drops in. I'm not making it up, but I'm sourcing it from my intuition, and being able to access that to answer this question. So I would say maybe you're on a date and a man is having wine and you don't drink, and he's starting to insist. Like, no, let me get you something. But he doesn't really know why you don't drink, and you don't want to make a big deal out of it. So you might say, that's when you would hold a boundary. You'd be strong but loving. Say, actually, that's very sweet of you for being so thoughtful, but what I'd really love is a Perrier with a squeeze of lemon. That would just make me so happy right now. Thank you. And that's final. That thank you that's it. That's where you draw the line. And then you can lean back. Lean back with that. Of course, leaning back, but I don't want to lean back that far from the camera. But I would just lean back and be very matter of fact when you're holding that boundary. And so let's see. I'm going to read you one more question, because I'm putting myself in the hot seat right now. I've been invited by a man to visit him for a week in another state. It would cost me $300. I'm already thinking it's a no. He has hundreds of thousands of airplane miles, and I'm rather broke and not thrilled he didn't offer to buy me a ticket. How do I ask? Oh, I love this question. Okay, ladies, this is great. Here's what you do when a man invites you on a trip and you don't really know if he's offering to pay or not. You say, wow, that sounds fantastic. I'd love to go. But, however, it's not really in my spending plan this month. My spending plan. Never say budget. Say, oh, I would love to go. This sounds amazing. It's not really in my spending plan this month. Smile. And then don't say anything. Shut up. See if he will go, oh, no, I'm paying for everything. In fact, that happened with Michael. He invited me to Utah, to his home after we'd been dating for several months. And I said, I would love to. Oh, that sounds so marvelous. Not on my spending plan right now to take a trip, but thank you so much for asking. And he goes, no, I'm going to take care of all the expenses. And I said, really? How wonderful. Yes, I accept. I would love to go. That's what I said. And so we went. And it wasn't that it wasn't in my spending plan, but I didn't want to. That's my value was that he would take care of those travel expenses. That was what I wanted. And so that's how you get what you want. And if he says, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, then you're like, that's okay. You just found out a lot of information about that man that you actually need to know. He just revealed to you that he's not uncomfortable, willing, doesn't matter. There's no judgment. You just now have the information. This man isn't interested in covering the expenses for travel. So I wouldn't go. Because you already said it's not on your budget. So you just say, oh, I'm sorry, it's not going to work. I would love to go, but it's not on my spending plan. See if he steps in to pick it up. And if he doesn't, then just say, maybe another time. That's it. And it's a no-go. Do not pay for it and do not go. Because you're setting up your whole relationship like that. And that's why I don't recommend you do it. Because you're already having some resistance. You got to honor that. That resistance is there to tell you that it's going against what you really want. And why would you do that? Because you're going to have a relationship filled with going against with what you want if you start this way now. And the trips are a big deal. I'll tell you why. Because more than likely you're going to sleep with him and you're going to create this intimacy, and you need to feel safe in order to do that. You need to feel like you can trust him, and you need to feel like he can provide for you, protect you and provide for you while you're with him. That's what men do. And if you don't feel that way, you're not going to be able to open to him sexually, emotionally, intellectually. It's not going to happen because you're in the back of your mind, you're resenting, and legs are going to stay closed. Sorry to be so frank, but that's the bottom line. So when a man does for a woman, she starts to relax. She starts to feel safe. She's in her feminine energy. And when you're in your feminine energy, he starts feeling more masculine. You're feeling more feminine. And you have this beautiful energy, this synergy that's happening. That's what you're going for. So do the guy a favor and tell him that it's not in your spending plan, and give him the opportunity to step up and be a man and take care of you so that he can be with his woman and stay in that position of receiving. Because you step out of that and you'll regret it. Did that help? Did that help you, Miriam? So I have a couple other questions. Let's see, how long have we gone? 32 minutes. Wow, my time's up. Let me, I have one question that I'll answer. Somebody wrote me an email and wanted to know the importance of having physical attraction to the person you desire to be in a long-term relationship with. And that's a tricky one. I don't want to just give you one, of course, I'm not going to say that, because you have to get to know a person. So physical attraction can change the longer you're with somebody. You need to give men a chance. So you might think he's too short, or he's got a little belly, or he doesn't have hair, whatever. Get rid of all that. That is all external. Get rid of it, okay? You need to get to know him and see if the qualities, if he makes you feel good, if you feel safe with him, if he listens to you, wanting to please you. I'm telling you, boy, does that a man can become so desirable to you that you will become physically attracted to him, aroused, because he is such a gentleman. He thinks of you above all others. He puts you first. I mean, that is a turn on in my book. And so you really want to look at, you need to be physically attracted, but is that the only thing that's attractive to you? Because if you're just coming in the front door, you're not going to get very far with the looks. You need to look at your list and your values and date men for a couple of weeks that you like, and he's treating you well, to get to know him. Wait to have any, intimacy, physical intimacy, so that you can allow the relationship to develop, so you get a chance to see who he is over a period of time. I mean, a month. Go out with this guy a month, and at the end of that time, nothing develops in terms of physical intimacy, physical intimate attraction, then I would say, it's not going to. Also, you can teach men how to kiss you. If he's not kissing you the way you want, you can teach him how to kiss you, and then, wow, things can change. And I'm going to talk about that in maybe a more private call, because I'm ready to share that with you. But for my ladies, I will make a special video for that. Okay, this has been a wonderful... Okay, so Miriam, you already tried that, and he didn't step up. Well, then you have your answer. I mean, really, he's not going to. So you're going to end up paying for your trip. You're going to end up paying for food when you're there. And so that's what buddies do. Okay, that's what we do when we're with our girlfriends. We're going on Dutch dates. So do you want a buddy or do you want a man? So he's not that into you if he's not stepping up. Okay? I'm sorry to be blunt, but he's not that into you, because the man that's into you would be doing that. So don't make it easy for them. They lose respect for you. Don't make it easy for men in that regard, because when you get there, you're going to just be so flustered and frustrated, not even going to have a good time. So consider this, he did you a favor. Just thank the universe. Thank you for showing me what I most needed to know about this man before I got in too deep with him. Thank you. So now you have more information about what it is that you want, and now you can just course correct and keep going. Don't waste any time on getting upset about things like this. You just be thankful that you now know and move on. Okay, ladies? Yeah, you're welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Lots of love. Have a beautiful evening. Remember to smile. It's the only thing you need to wear. Okay? It doesn't matter what you're wearing. If you're not smiling, that's the key to all of this dating. You know, I practice smiling when I'm talking. It's just so, I mean, Michael said the first thing, how to make men fall into your lap, smile. A man cannot resist a woman that's happy and a genuine smile. So practice smiling and making that eye contact. So true. All right. Bye, ladies. Love you.